This show, Purpose Under Pressure, it's as much about pressure as it is purpose. We like to delve into the problems and the issues and the hurdles and the challenges that people are overcoming in business. But sometimes it's just fun to celebrate success. And we're going to do that next. A meteoric rise for a local business. It's Uncle Crunch. Lena Wilson, killing it. Next on Purpose Under Pressure. The heat is on. Let's get cooking. This is Purpose Under Pressure. It's a podcast about people, business leaders, community-minded folks, just like you and me are trying to get something done. We wake up in the morning, we swing our legs out of bed, we put them on the floor, and we go to get it. And something always tries to stop us, doesn't it? Those pressures that rise up, try to knock us off our path, sometimes makes us maybe consider a shortcut. Does that sound familiar? If not, good for you. It happens to me, and that's called Purpose Under Pressure, and that's what this show is all about. Do we stick up and stand up, or do we fall? So if you like this show, if you're back for more, please do like us or follow us or subscribe. It helps to let other people know that this show is maybe worth checking out. Tell your mom, tell a friend. It helps. The more ears we have, the more mouths we can generate, and that's how people find out. And that's what we're trying to do here at Purpose Under Pressure. So thank you for coming back. Purpose Under Pressure is brought to you by Sandler by the Ruby Group, serving sales professionals with sales training nationwide from their Akron and Columbus, Ohio locations. They're also in Jacksonville, Florida. They provide sales training and business growth revenue opportunities for your sales team and your operation. They do it right. And what I mean by that is it's not gamey, it's not cliche, it's not quick tips on how to close whatever. We don't do that anymore, right? We're doing things on purpose. We're doing things well. And that's what Sandler by the Ruby Group is all about. They will help your team. They run boot camps that, if you ask nice, maybe they can run some discounts and things, but just to get to know a little bit more about what's going on at Sandler by the Ruby Group. And if you're interested in that, call my friends, Mike Jones, Ken Guest, Jordan at the team. They'll help you out. And it might be the best call you ever make. They're online at therubygroup.sandler.com. This is Purpose Under Pressure, and I've been looking forward to this show for a long time because you see things. And a lot of the reason I do this show is because I think we look across the road, I've said this before, and we see our friends and neighbors, and they've got it made, right? They're successful, and they're killing it, and they've just got it all. And here we are just struggling. But man, it's not that easy. It's not overnight. It's not without pressures or hardships. And I just want you to know that. And I have a feeling that we're going to find out a little bit about that in today's show because my guest is extremely successful. At least it seems that way. Lena Wilson, founder and CEO of Uncle Crunch. Uncle Crunch. Located right here in Medina County in the heart of Ohio, they are making premier freeze-dried treats at Uncle Crunch. They're doing it well, knocking out of the park, and I can't wait to hear more. Lena Wilson, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
I'm glad you're on the show, too. We ran into each other a few months ago, and I said, I want to talk to you. And you're like,
Yeah.
what do you want to talk to me about? But I'm really glad we are because this show is all about helping others who are thinking about making a jump and taking a step and doing something that they've always wanted to do. And I have a feeling that that's kind of what you did. So talk a little bit about Uncle Crunch, what it's all about. Let's brag a little bit because you are successful, and I want to hear some more about what's going on great with Uncle Crunch.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much again for having me on the show. I'm really excited when you asked me to join. It's still amazing to me that people want to hear my story and see what we're up to. So
They do.
It really means a lot. But I started Uncle Crunch just over a year now. So it's been about 18 months or so. And I really hit the ground running because my why and my purpose is my kids. I'm a single mom, and I wanted to create something that we could all be excited about, all work on together. And when things get tough or when times get hard, I just remember it's to show my kids that if you work hard, you're dedicated, and you are resilient, that you can kind of decide to do whatever you want.
How old are your kids?
My oldest is 20, my middle is 14, and my youngest is 9. So I have two girls and one boy.
And they're all participating in the business in some way.
At some capacity, whether they're excited about it some days or not. My son enjoys to be paid in freeze-dried Skittles. So there will be a lot of times where he's like, can I get a pack of one of those? And, I'm like, oh, can you come wash dishes? Or, And my younger daughter, she enjoys labeling some pouches for us or organizing we've got a little inventory here that we use to sell out, sales from our website. So she enjoys doing that or just kind of hanging out in my office with me. And my oldest works part-time here. So she's actually currently back in the kitchen prepping some candy right now.
And you talk about back in the kitchen. So tell me a little bit about behind the scenes at Uncle Crunch. I want to know what Uncle Crunch is. Like, what is freeze-dried treats? So you mentioned Skittles and things. I want to know what that is. I want to know what the inspiration was. But I also want people to realize that I think you're doing it in your house, right? I think you're not. You used to
No,
be. So
no,
yeah, so tell me you didn't.
yeah,
Okay. Tell me
no,
all about how this got started and
sure.
I'm really interested in this.
Yeah. So I started just over a year ago, I had mentioned, and it is actually illegal to freeze dry candy in your home for resale. So
It's
freeze
illegal.
drying,
Someone came up with a
yes,
law against freeze-dried candy.
they did. Yes. And the reason and why I kind of got started is because freeze dried candy really blew up on social media around COVID time.
Okay.
So watching videos of the how-tos and just the ASMR, the crunchy, the textures was something that I and my kids were already intrigued in before I even started this. And I just thought, this seems really cool. Something that I want to bring here, something I want to do, a project I want to work on. I very quickly found out that there are a lot of regulations.
Wow.
And I think the state of Ohio just started that to kind of get in front of this big boom to make sure that products were created for safety, that the consumer can know that they're enjoying a product that is made safe and in a commercial kitchen. So I started in a 650 square feet facility in Brunswick, and we very quickly outgrew that space. Within 6 months, we had boxes stacked everywhere. We are
Those are the
now
pictures I saw. I thought it looked like you were in this space, like all cramped up,
yes, very
surrounded by.
small.
Okay,
Yeah. So it wasn't my home, but a
I see.
commercial kitchen that we, made out to work for us. Now we've got 1,800 square feet. We've got
In
a
just
couple
a
freeze
year.
dryers. Yeah, yeah. In less than a year, we had to move here to
Yeah.
really expand, and we're already starting to feel like, okay, where do we put more inventory? Where can we put more machines? And to tell you a little bit about the process, so freeze drying is a preservation of food that we've had, around for quite a while. It's what astronauts take up to space because it creates a shelf-stable food for up to 25 years. It's also lightweight, so it's easy to travel with and things like that. But people quickly found out what happens when you put candy in a freeze dryer. We're using the vacuum environment, the pressurized system under sub-zero temperatures to really draw out that moisture. It converts the textures to this light, airy, crispy, and crunchy, and then it immediately dissolves in your mouth. So it's really a fun, unique texture. All of the flavors is the same. It actually preserves the flavors, makes it more intensified, but getting a really unique experience with that texture.
Yeah, that's what I've noticed too. It's different, and yet it
Yes.
just pops in your mouth,
Yes.
which is pretty
Yep.
cool. So,
Yeah.
okay, so I'm going to dive into business here. Some folks might want to
Mhm.
know more about candy. I'm interested in what's going on behind the scenes because you are skyrocketing. Like growth is very rapid. You've made a good decision. You're a good business person. Things are going well. That's got to bring some challenges. You already talked about maybe even outgrowing this space. What are
Yeah.
some of the challenges that you've had to overcome, the pressures along the way here as we ramp up this business?
Yeah, so in the CPG world, in creating a consumer product, you want to really be careful about that growth. You don't want to kind of outgrow your pants, really, and you can be in some trouble. So a lot of the pain points for me has been that cash flow and navigating. When do we make a purchase? When do we need to kind of hold back to kind of balance the ebbs and flows of the cash flow? So really at this point in my business, we're looking at, is it time for an investor or utilizing some resources? I just applied for the WBE to be women certified.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some resources that will be available to me in that capacity as well. But we're looking really at a lot of big things happening this year and a lot of continued growth.
And were there some times? So it's been a meteoric rise in a single year.
Mhm.
Has it been easy?
Oh gosh, no. No. And it's something that I just personally, I am very careful about my finances and it's something that really stresses me out personally to make sure that I've got everything in line and, doing things the right way. And so it's been very difficult, very stressful for me to kind of be able to plan, but not sure, what our next big thing is going to be, where our next big sale is going to be. We really did switch from doing retail, so doing vendor shows and craft shows on the weekend, some website,
Mm-hmm.
social media sales, to really looking into wholesale and getting into, we're in Market District and Heinen's now and Meyer Fairfax. So we're really switching from getting that constant income from those small sales to really those bigger sales.
And so, explain to me a little bit about the purpose on that. So, when you decided to build your company, and you already
Mhm.
said, I want something for my family to do together, and yet
Yes.
now within a year, you're in Myers and you're ramping up, and it is that where you wanted it to go? Is that part of the dream come true? You had to
Yes.
switch from the fairs and the shows and things of that sort. So this is all kind of on plan. At what point during this year did you realize, okay, time to shift and go? It's time now for third gear.
Yeah. So it really that shift kind of happened towards the end of third quarter, really going into the fourth quarter as we're working on these big projects that are more time consuming, working 12-hour days, 7 days a week to
Yeah.
put that growth into the business. I just don't have time to do those appearances on the weekend shows and things like that. Really getting ready for QVC. We did a special on QVC on November 13th. So prepping for that big of an order. We were reached, Mally's Chocolates reached out to us for a partnership. So working on their product and getting into stores was very time consuming. So these really big projects back to back really kind of paved the way for this next step for us.
That's amazing. Have you ever had to
Yeah.
say no to anything yet? All these
Uh,
opportunities are making themselves available to you, and they all seem great. Mally's reached out, QVC, opportunity to get a bigger place. Anything you've had to say, no, that's not part of what I'm trying to do?
Not quite a no, maybe a couple not yet,
Mhm.
or things that we're planning, ideas and things that I want to create, but I know that not right now is the time. I need to focus on these bigger orders, but things that we have on the horizon. So I wouldn't say we haven't had to say no yet, but it's really just been a not yet. Give me more time. And QVC was a good example because our next appearance is going to be, it's scheduled for April 2nd.
Oh, wow.
And
They
at
came
first
back
they
for
were,
more, huh?
yes, yeah. So I'm really excited about that. April 2nd at 3 p.m., we're going to be live on QVC again. But at first they said, we want to have you back in March. And I'm like, we're working on our second order for Mally's. And right now is just not the time. So I had to push that off and say end of March, April would be better for us.
How did you become an entrepreneur? Have you always been an entrepreneur? Is this something that you've tried before and failed at? Nothing wrong with failure. Have
Right?
you always done that, or is this a complete switch for you?
It is a complete switch for me.
Really?
Yes. So I've always had that entrepreneur spirit. What can I get into? What can I start? I was kind of looking at what felt right or where my passion was. I was working full time. I had purchased my new home as a single mom. And 2 weeks after my kids and I moved into the home, I was laid off from my job. And that was really the catalyst for
Wow.
right now is the time. I had a savings and it was, at this point, do I invest in that savings to continue my taking care of my kids? Or do I really look at, I'm going to invest in myself. I'm going to make this happen and I'm going to, make this successful. So it was kind of that kind of pushed me. I do have family members that are entrepreneurs and have very successful businesses. So kind of them to look up to and how do you figure out how this all works. But after I found myself laid off and decided, this is what I'm going to do, I did a ton of research. I learned how to network, which is one of my favorite
Hmm.
things about this business is the people that I get to meet and the opportunities that presented themselves because of networking.
Yeah, and you mentioned when we were talking a bit before the show, you're really interested in keeping it local. So there's other people that I've interviewed on the show that have big international companies, and yet they're so focused on local. It almost helps to keep that purpose alive. But you've got that behind you too. You kind of want this to be big, but you're not interested in uprooting yourself, right?
Right. Yeah. I love being a Medina County resident. My kids go to the school districts here. And so it's really important to me that we have a community focused stance. I want to support my community as much as we can as a business. And as we grow, I want to keep this as my home.
That's awesome.
So we do have dreams of being a national company. But we want to keep it right here in Medina County, like some of our other big businesses that are here. There are so many things that come out of Northeast Ohio that I just want Uncle Crunch to be another one of those to put our area on the map.
One of the things that small businesses, large businesses even, have trouble with nowadays is employees and finding the right folks and things. Do you have employees yet? And how's that working for you guys?
Yeah, so I wanted to start off small, so it's first just been family and friends. One of our greatest assets here at Uncle Crunch is actually my grandmother. She is our intern of the year. So she comes in and spends just as much as time as I do here. And she does anything that needs to be done, whether it's labeling pouches, washing dishes, candy prep. She's here for it all, and I'm so grateful for the time that she invests here. My daughter is new part-time here, so she left one of her part-time jobs to come work for mom, which as a mom, I was very nervous about, having that, that responsibility, but she has really been a great asset. And I also have, two friends that work part-time as well. So, one friend is contract and the other, is part-time. So we have not had any difficulty yet, retaining employees. I think everybody else here sees kind of the vision and the passion, and we all work very hard.
Everyone in the organization needs to know how to sell. Sales is the strength of any company. Whether or not you're in marketing, operations, or even finance, everyone has a strong shared accountability towards driving top-line revenue. Whether or not you're client-facing or talking over the phone, you're able to build a stronger level of rapport with the clients. Everyone in the organization shares that responsibility to know how to sell.
Did anybody ever tell you can't do it before you started? Did anybody say, no, you better not, this isn't the right time or anything like that?
I don't
You
think
are so
so.
blessed. This is awesome. Everything
I
works,
really,
right?
I really am. And if anybody was saying no from the beginning, it was me. It was
you.
myself saying no, be careful, be hesitant. This is scary. This is not safe. And so I have kind of this journey, I've been kind of cautious, maybe real conservative with my decisions, or where I take the business. I am so grateful to have all of the cheerleaders behind me shouting, go, 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 you can do this. Back to my networking, it has been the other small business owners in my life that have just, been encouraging, supporting, connecting me to other resources that I might need at that point. Along this journey, it's just been, I've always felt like I've been in the right place at the right time. The people that I meet that came into my life, it's just been fantastic.
Yeah, that's really cool. I love to hear that because I'm a big believer that God opens up doors and He also closes doors, and sometimes we knock on those closed ones until they finally fall down. It's not the right path. Feels like you're on the right path, and things just kind of unfold for you a little bit, not without work or effort or trial, but they are unfolding. What's the future look like? Paint me a picture. If things go the way you want them to go, what is Uncle Crunch? What's in the future for Uncle Crunch?
So I got that big sigh because I'm so excited. I'm so passionate about this business and where it possibly could go for us. So specifically, I've got a new product line that I'm hoping to launch at the end of this year. And, we treat our family and friends with freeze-dried candy or treats, but I'm really looking at treating our pets and our four-legged friends. So we're going to create a product line just for treats for our cats and dogs. So I'm really excited about that. And just continuing to grow regionally in stores in our area. And then eventually we'll look at when we're at the capacity and size to be able to go national. So
have you tried it on your dogs yet? And cats? Have you given them some samples? Do the animals like this?
Not yet, but
Not yet.
as soon as we're done with, I've got to get finished with the mailies here,
Yeah.
and then we will do some sampling and testing. I visited a processing plant for beef on Monday of this week. Very excited about that partnership. That's going to be another thing that's important to me is sourcing our meats locally, and knowing where our product will come from. So I did come back from that processing plant with some samples, and my my favorite son, sometimes I tell my kids, is my four-legged standard poodle. His name is Clark, and his birthday is coming up. So I think this R&D is going to fit it right into giving him those special treats on his birthday.
That's tremendous. I can't wait to see
Yeah.
that launch. And boy, when it does, I hope you reach back out and we can talk about that and see how that's going. I'm a big animal fan, and I love that you're doing that. I want to ask a tough question as we start to wrap up, because I believe strongly in the value of small businesses in America. That's everything. But I've seen a lot of success, but we've all seen failure. And a lot of small businesses, a lot of family-owned businesses don't make it. And there's nothing wrong with failure. We try, we go again. That's fine. But they don't always make it. You're making it. And if you don't mind sharing with me, what do you think, if you had to pick like one thing that you focused on that really worked well to keep you where you're at and kind of put you on this rise, what would that one thing be that maybe might have got missed by others at certain places? I think this should be more helpful than hurtful. It's like, here's what I saw that I took advantage of, and I'm glad I did. What's that thing that's keeping you going where maybe others weren't able to do it?
So, two things that really come to mind first and foremost is remembering my purpose. So when decisions get tough, when it looks like we're not going to make it, I just keep remembering my why. My 3 kids are watching everything that I do, all of my decisions, and how I respond to what happens to me. I always want to be a great role model for them so that they can see in the future any challenges, big or small. It doesn't matter. It just matters, how you respond and continue to carry yourself. So that's number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 is knowing when to ask for help, relying on resources. Northeast Ohio is one of the best places to start a small businesses because of the resources we have available to us. I started with SCORE from the very beginning. My SCORE mentor, I have been so blessed to have him along with this journey. No matter small or big, he, helps encourage me to make the decision that I think is best for us, with the knowledge that I currently have. So knowing to rely on those resources or reach out, join networking groups, ask other small business owners for help, or just that encouragement, so that has been really important for me to kind of continue on.
That's tremendous. I hope you don't mind me saying this. That is so wise. I don't know if you think of it that way, but that's a lot of information that you've learned in just a little bit of time. It sounds like you had your balls in line first, but that is a really wise approach to business, and I congratulate you for that.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's not always easy, like you said, it's we might see that neighbor across the street doing well, but we don't really know. And there are a lot of tough days, but there's a lot of things to celebrate as well.
Yeah, and that's good for you. You mentioned networking. I know your business is growing. There's other people listening out there that want to know more about Uncle Crunch. If people needed to reach out and learn more about you or find out what's next, if they can get on the bandwagon or whatever it might be, how would they reach out to you?
Yeah, so you can visit our website at unclecrunch.com. There's a contact form there, so you can send a message. It comes directly to me. And at this point, or even when I grow up, I want to help other small businesses. If you're thinking about starting a business and you just need that encouragement, I want to be a cheerleader for you as well. So you can't have enough cheerleaders, I think, in the background.
You know what? If someone's listening right now going, man, I can do that, what would you say to them?
Absolutely, you can do that. Yes, right? I would say go for it. Right. And you had mentioned, awesome. A lot of small businesses fail. And there's a lot of factors to that, right? But it's not that you failed. It's that you learned so much to go on to your next adventure. You know what worked and what didn't work. Apply it to something else.
Folks, I could talk to Lena all day long because I feel like I'm going to school for business. This is just amazing. It's shocking to me. I hope you don't take offense to this, that you've been doing this for a little over a year. You've got a wealth of information and you're going to do great. I'm 58
Thank you.
years old and I've talked with people with 58 years of experience that don't seem to get it like you do. So well done, Lena.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I really am a learner. I enjoy learning everything that I possibly can. And, I wish I would have started this a long time ago. I found my passion and I'm
Yeah.
just really excited to be here. So
Good luck to you, folks. That's the kind of thing that this show's all about. I want you, if you're watching, if you're listening and you're wondering, could I do that? Should I do that? I just want you to know that, maybe yes, maybe no, I don't know, but please look into it, because doing your own thing, even if you don't own it, doing what you want to do, your purpose, that's what matters. Don't let anything stop you from that. And Lena Wilson is proof that if you take a step out, you might just land on your feet. And so, Lena Wilson of Uncle Crunch, thank you so much for joining us on Purpose Under Pressure. How much fun was that? I really could have talked with Lena for a long, long time. And by the way, when I was talking about 58-year-old businesses that don't know as much as she, I'm one of them. Because I tell you what, I've learned by a lot of mistakes and a lot of failures, not just as a business owner, but as an employee in my career. And the best thing you can do is hold on to those failures and learn from them. Even better thing you can do is not make them in the first place, those mistakes. So here's to Lena continuing on with success. We'll check in with her later and see how she's doing. But thank you so much, Lena, for being my guest on Purpose Under Pressure. It's brought to you by Sandler by the Ruby Group. Sellers are under pressure to perform, and Sandler helps you to succeed on purpose. You're going to find all past episodes of Purpose Under Pressure at brianmediastrategies.com/podcast and wherever you stream your favorite shows. We do this every week, and we will see you next time on Purpose.